So we've looked into the other analytics, and there's lots of different bits that we can pull out from that. But one of the really important things that we've actually spoke about previously in the strategy is about really finding that best time to post. Now remember, finding the best time to post is so important to almost game Instagram's algorithm to make it know that your content is the best content for your followers, and therefore show it with all of your followers, and hopefully get on that all-important explore page where lots more people will be able to see you. So now we know what analytics we have, let's start to look at the sort of insights which we can pull from those basic figures. So one of the key things that we can find out is try to build up a better picture of who our followers are. So going back into the analytics, again on these 4 dashed lines on the top right hand corner of the screen, looking into the followers, we can start to see who they are. So despite there being a big gender split, age split and location split, we can start to pair this back with the audience in which we were trying to target when we first started the plan for our Instagram account. Now this is just a meme comedy account, so there's no real specific focus. But if you're a brand, for example, a male nutrition brand, you can start to say, okay, well, only half of our audience are men, so how can we better target and tailor our content towards men? So going back to what we see here, we can start to build up an idea of who these audience are. So women between the age of 18 and 24 that are predominantly within the US and ideally, or more specifically, in New York. So once we know who those followers are, we can start to pair that information with what sort of content works best for them. So a great way of looking at this is going into more depth into this post view. So the post view where you can click see more here. So by looking at all of the posts here, you can start to view them in lots of different ways to try and get a sense of what content works and what sort of engagement you're getting. So by clicking on impressions on the top here, you can start to filter the views and the results that you see here in different ways. So whether you're looking at all content, videos, photos or carousel, and you can start to say, okay, well the most important thing for us is impressions. So that's how it's done a preset to, and you can also change the order that you're looking over. So say if we just want to look in the last 30 days, so it's not skewing legacy content with new content. Also, impressions are really useful to look at, but essentially what that assesses is the discoverability of our posts. So that's essentially how good the hashtags are within that. So when you're looking at the impressions, you can start to build up a picture of how well that content has got in front of people, which isn't necessarily the content itself, but it is how good the hashtags are and how popular that content has been on those hashtags, so the Instagram algorithm can extend the views and the impressions which it gets. An interesting way of looking at it is actually filtering by engagement. So if you're trying to get people engaging with your brand, then this is a really great way to flag and to make sure that actually the content you're posting is what people really want to see. So let's look at all content filtered by engagement over the last 3 months. And this should reorder the screen which we have here. Here we are. So we can still see that father post is still up first, but we can start to see there's even more animals in the top than there were on by engagement. So looking at this post here, we can see actually it had nearly 400 likes, and we can start to look more specifically into that. So this actually had a huge percentage engagement by reach and impressions. So this is a great way, and it's also got more comments and saves than some of the other previous posts. So looking at this here and looking by engagement, we can say, okay, well largely parenthood posts, animal posts and also fashion-based posts are in the top screen here where we get the most amount of engagement. So we can pair that with the knowledge that we have that a lot of our followers are women between 18 and 24 in New York or the US, and they like animal posts and parenting posts. So then we can go down and actually start to look at the times that these people are engaging with the content. So if you go into followers again, into see more, and scroll all the way down to the times, it's important to note that the analytics are based on the location settings which you have for your account. So this account is set in UK time, but now we know that actually the women that are make up the majority of our followers, are based in New York. So even though we're seeing this in GMT, they're actually on New York time zone. So having a look across the hours, you can start to see that when it gets more popular, so say from about 3 p.m. on a Monday, all the way up until around 3 a.m. That's not people in the UK viewing that at 3 a.m. as we would assume because it's on our time zone. This is actually all throughout the day in the US. So we can start to see the peaks being at 9 p.m. At UK time. So looking at 3 p.m, that's actually 10 a.m. because we're currently on British summertime. That's currently 10 a.m. in New York as it's 5 hours behind us. So from 10 a.m. all the way up to 10 p.m. is when people are most active on this Instagram account. Looking at 9 p.m, which is the most popular time for us, between 9 and 10, that's actually between 4 and 5 p.m. in the States. So understanding when the best time to post and actually when the best day to post means we have the third part of the essential piece of information from the analytics in order to make our Instagram much better. So we know who those people are, what content they like, and when to post. So realistically, what we'd be looking at doing is producing more content geared towards women. Ideally with American jokes or in-jokes would actually make a lot more sense. Posting between the hours of 3 a.m. or 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. US time, and actually posting pretty much similar throughout the days, but having a good focus on Sunday, Monday and Tuesday is when we've previously had the most amount of success on here. Now the one thing to bear in mind, and a slight caveat to these analytics, is that these analytics only show you when the best time to post is based on the post which you've already had. So sometimes it's interesting to actually experiment way beyond what you currently post and how you currently post in order to get the best analytics for your account. If, for example, you've never posted at 10 a.m. on a Monday morning, then it won't actually be able to tell you whether or not that is or isn't a good idea to do. So experiment a little, keep a strong idea and a strong eye on your analytics, and start to see how you can better tailor your content, your time to the followers which you have, and make sure that the followers that you have are linked to the followers that you really want on your account. So what we're going to be getting here is 3 main things. Who your followers are and making sure that that is the same as the followers that we intended to get in the first place. What is the best time to post so we can then focus on our schedule and our content calendar to make sure we're ticking that box. And finally, what is the best content that gets the most engagement for you? And is that aligned with what we want to produce and why we want to produce it for the people that we want? It all molds in some sort of way, but having a consideration on all these things and using the analytics to understand that is definitely the way that we can make sure our strategy is moving in the right direction. So next up, we're going to look at specifically how you can use this information to create the best schedule for your Instagram and how we at Hopper can help you with that.